welcome back to the channel. Today I want to give you a real quick update on the Pennywise tutorial. So not going to go into a lot of detail, but I do want to show you where I'm at for this part 2 video series. Come a long way, and before I show you where I'm at, I do want to say thank you to one of the subscribers who essentially said, hey, the project that you're doing, you need this. It's called a Gartol, G-A-R-T-O-L. I got it off of Amazon. It's these shears that essentially kind of open like this. It comes with this blade and then 2 additional blades that you can change out. And then it's got this little fence down here that goes from 90 degrees to 45 on one side and 135 degrees on the other side. So gives you various types of cuts for small wood projects, pruning, or whatever you want to do. These are amazing. And if it weren't for these, I wouldn't be nearly as far. Now, I've delayed a couple days in doing this video because I've been busy. We've got some other things going on, but man, those little shears help cut right through that wood like nobody's business. A wonderful suggestion. I appreciate it. I looked at them on Amazon right after they told me about it, and within 30 seconds after seeing the video, I clicked the buy now button. So I think they're about $32 or so on Amazon, but $32 well spent if you're doing a lot of wood cutting. And speaking of a lot of wood cutting, here's where we're at with the house. I am doing a lot of wood cutting, as you can see, and all this wood was cut using that tool, and it just made it so incredibly quick. So this is where we're at with the house on Nevolt Street. I still have not started the roof, but I have glued everything together. And so you see that this is the bottom side here, and then the top side here, and we've got room for lights and places to put cords and things like that. And so this is where we're at. I've used all craft wood that you get at the craft store to do the siding. And you can see kind of a closer up there of what it looks like. I did scale it up a little bit with the my Dremel tool and some different brushes to make it look a little more old. It's not great, but I think the paint will certainly help. And then foam cut on the Proxon to go around the windows, to go around the door. And then roof tiles were all done on the Proxon, at least cutting real thin, and I don't know if you can see how thin those are, but real thin strips on the Proxon, and then basically using a toothpick to get the old shingle effect on there, and then using some scissors just to cut the individual shingles. And it's a strip. You can't see the top portion of it, but it's only cut about half the way through the little shingle part there. And then hot glued everything. Everything is hot glued on here. It just makes it a lot easier, a lot faster. And so it's pretty sturdy. It's not very heavy, but it is pretty sturdy, and it's starting to take shape. I do like the front porch. Obviously, if you look at the photos, you'll see that the front porch has a broken bottom slat. You'll have a porch here with some railing when it's all done. And then for the sides here and the molding, this is all it's not chipboard per se, it's basically cardstock. And I got this at Michael's. It's 50 sheets, 65 pounds. It looks like this when it's out. And it's not very thick, but it certainly is pliable. It bounces right back, so it's thick enough to work. And so I just cut strips of that to length and then added that to the house to cover up the seams. Now, the next step for this is to paint everything on here black, and that's where I'm at now. And I wanted to show you this before I start the painting process. So the next step is painting everything on here black and getting it, that's sort of my primer for Halloween, is to get everything on here painted black, and then we will start adding the detail with the grays and the light grays and the white and kind of go from there. As I do this, this will only take me probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes probably to paint. It doesn't need to be pretty. It's just, you're just throwing black paint on it. If I didn't have all the styrofoam on it, I would simply take a can of black flat spray paint and spray paint it, but I think that would eat the foam, and I certainly don't want to do that. So I will take a flat acrylic house paint in this case, sort of I got a gallon at Lowe's a year or so ago, and I'll use that, put a very liberal coat on here to cover everything. And then while that's drying, I need to start the design process on the roof. And so that's what's coming next. And I think, I think that's going to be the most challenging part for me, because there's several pieces of this roof that have to fit together with certain angles, and especially on the turret over here. That roof, if you've seen the pictures, that roof is going to come up sort of slanted this way and then up to a sort of a steeple on top, and I haven't really figured out how I'm going to do that yet. We'll figure it out, but the house is starting to come together. It's not to size, it's not to spec, and I told you that in the first video, and I don't really care about that. I think once it's done, it will resemble the house on Neibolt Street enough to where you recognize it immediately, hopefully. And so I know these windows are spaced a little bit too far apart. And I thought about, before I started putting the wood on, I thought about just cutting that piece off and then redoing the windows. And then I thought better of it, because really I would be moving the windows less than an inch in. And at the end of the day, yes, I know I strive for realism and detail, but I think this will be close enough. But I'm pretty pleased with the way it's turning out so far. All built from scratch, no plans, just looking at the pictures and really just kind of creating the facade of the front of the house. So that's going to be it for today's update and today's video. Again, we're going into the paint shop next to get this thing painted. And then on part 3 of this tutorial, I'll show you the painted house, or at least the black primer on there, and then we'll start figuring out how we're going to get that roof on there. And then just so you are tracking, I found some old looking newspaper photos online. I've taken those, saved them to my computer, colored them sort of a sepia color, or sepia, however you pronounce that. And then I think I'm going to take some white washed, really thin paint and kind of whitewash them to help fade them out. And then those are going to be glued behind each window, just like in the movie where it was all covered with newspaper. And so then behind those will be the lights. And I haven't really determined what type of lights I'm going to use, whether it's going to be a string of LED lights that you would put into a house. They can't get hot, that's for sure, because this is all foam. And so either some string lights, fairy lights that are white, and if those aren't bright enough, some LED, maybe Christmas lights, or LED, almost like Department 56 house lights. As long as they're LED and don't get hot, they'll go in there. And then ideally that will kind of come through the newspaper in the windows and help to illuminate that at night. But haven't crossed that bridge quite yet. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this small, quick update. If you have, please let me know that by clicking the like button. If you have comments or suggestions, or you just want to say something to me in the comments, please go ahead and do that. I try to respond to those as quickly as I possibly can. And then if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing that. Again, it shows me that you're interested. I know that if you're watching this right now, I know you're interested, because we share the love of this hobby, which is pretty awesome when you think about it. So I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate you watching the channel and supporting. And if you have any questions, let me know. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We'll see you.